Here's something that confuses a lot of people about ADHD and autism, and honestly, I get why. You'll hear someone say ADHD and autism aren't disorders, they're just different ways of thinking. And that feels right, that feels good, that feels affirming. And then someone else will say, but they are disabilities. And suddenly people don't know what to do with that. They think these two things are in conflict, but they're not. Today, I'm going to explain both the neurodiversity paradigm and a social disability framework to show you why understanding both together actually gives the most complete, honest, and helpful picture of ADHD and autism. Hi, I'm Dr. Colleen Cira. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm AuDHD myself, and I'm a mom to 2 neurodivergent kids. I've built my entire career, my practice, my online community, my content around one core mission, helping people see, support, and celebrate every kind of mind. And this topic, this is foundational. This is the stuff I wish someone had explained to me before I spent years trying to figure out why I was so broken. So let's get into it. The neurodiversity paradigm is a framework, a way of understanding human brains that says neurological differences like ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and so many others are natural variations in human neurology, not mistakes, not malfunctions, variations. The term neurodiversity was coined in the late 1990s by sociologist Judy Singer, who is herself autistic. And the core idea is this: just like biodiversity is essential to a healthy ecosystem, neurological diversity is a natural and valuable part of the human species. Now, here's where people sometimes get it twisted, so I want to be really clear. The neurodiversity paradigm is not saying that ADHD and autism are easy, that they don't come with real challenges, that people don't need support, or that we should just tell struggling people to embrace their uniqueness and send them on their way. That would be toxic positivity, and that is not helpful. Here's what the neurodiversity paradigm is saying. The way we've been framing ADHD and autism as deficits, as disorders, as things that need to be fixed is wrong, and that framing causes real harm. For a long time, ADHD and autism have been understood through what's called the medical model. The medical model looks at a person and says, what's wrong with them? What's the deficit? What do we need to fix? And when you apply that lens to neurodivergent people, ADHD and autistic people specifically, you get a lot of harmful outcomes. You get therapies aimed at making autistic kids look neurotypical. You get ADHD kids being told they're lazy or bad. You get adults spending decades thinking they're fundamentally broken. The neurodiversity paradigm flips that. Instead of asking, what's wrong with this person, it starts to ask, what does this person need? And what environment would actually work well for this particular brain and nervous system? That is a completely different question, and it leads to really different outcomes. When you understand neurodiversity, you stop trying to cure the person and start thinking about fit, the fit or alignment between a person's brain and their environment. A fish isn't broken because it can't climb a tree. It's in the wrong environment. A lot of what we call ADHD symptoms or autistic symptoms are actually what happens when a neurodivergent brain is in an environment that wasn't designed for it. Neurotypical schools, neurotypical workplaces, neurotypical social expectations. Change the environment, and a lot of those symptoms look really different. Okay, so where does disability come in? Now, here's where I see people get uncomfortable, especially in neurodivergent affirming spaces. Because once you start saying neurodivergent is just difference, not a disorder, some people like to go all the way to, so it's not a disability either. And I want to gently but firmly push back on that because that's not accurate and it's actually not helpful to the neurodivergent community. ADHD and autism are disabilities for many people, not because they're broken, but because disability is a real and meaningful concept that we need to understand correctly and destigmatize. Here's the key. There are different ways to understand disability, just like there are different ways to understand neurodivergence. The social model of disability says that disability is not just about a person's body or brain. It's about the interaction between a person and their environment. You are disabled when the world around you creates barriers that prevent you from participating fully. So, for example, a wheelchair user isn't disabled by their body alone. They're disabled by stairs, by the absence of ramps, by buildings that weren't designed with them in mind. Is this starting to sound familiar? It's actually very similar to the neurodiversity argument, right? The environment matters enormously. Now I want to pause here though and hold some nuance with you because this is essential. The social model of disability is genuinely helpful for a lot of people. It gives you a framework to design your life with intentionality instead of just defaulting to I'm broken, and that's really powerful. But I also want to name that for some people, the social model of disability doesn't fully capture their experience. There are neurodivergent people who feel profoundly disabled, regardless of their environment, who even with every accommodation in place are still navigating something genuinely hard every single day. And the social model, if applied too rigidly, can accidentally erase that experience. So I'm not asking you to adopt any one framework as the whole truth. I'm asking you to hold the nuance and the complexity. Lots of things can be true at the same time. The environment matters enormously, and some people are disabled in ways that go beyond what any environment can fix. Your experience is valid either way. When we apply the social model to ADHD and autism, we can say this: autistic and ADHD people are disabled, not because their brains are wrong, but because the world was built for neurotypical brains. And when you try to operate in a system that wasn't designed for your brain, you hit barriers, real barriers, every single day. And those barriers have consequences. They lead to chronic exhaustion from masking and compensating, higher rates of anxiety and depression, difficulty maintaining employment or relationships, educational underachievement, and in some cases, genuine safety risks that we'll get into at another time. That's disability, and naming it matters. I know some people, especially newly diagnosed folks or parents of newly diagnosed kids, feel really resistant to the word disability. It feels heavy. It feels like maybe giving up or like you're defining by someone else's limitations. But here's what I want you to hear. Claiming disability is actually an act of advocacy. It is not giving up. It is demanding access. When ADHD and autism are recognized as disabilities, that's what opens the door to workplace accommodations, educational supports and IEPs, legal protections under the ADA, possibly insurance coverage for services, and an overall recognition that the burden of adaptation should not fall entirely on the neurodivergent person. If we say, oh, it's just a difference, not a disability, we accidentally strip people of access to the very support they need. That is not liberation, that's abandonment. So these two frameworks are not actually in conflict. Here's the synthesis. And this is the part I really hope that you take with you. The neurodiversity paradigm and the social model of disability framework are not in conflict. They really need each other. The neurodiversity paradigm gives us this: ADHD and autism are not defects. Neurodivergent people are not broken. Their brains are different, and those differences come with real strengths, unique ways of thinking, and add genuine value to the world. The social model of disability gives us this: the world creates real barriers for neurodivergent people, and those barriers cause real harm. Naming that is not pessimism, it's honesty, and it's the foundation for demanding change. Together, they give us the most complete picture. You are not broken, and the world is not set up for you. Both of those things are true at the same time. I'll be honest with you. It took me a long time, and I'm still working through it, to hold both of these things at once. As someone who is an autistic ADHDer, I spent years either feeling like something was fundamentally wrong with me or swinging in the other direction and dismissing how hard things actually were. What helped me, and what I see is helping my clients and the families I work with, is landing in both truths simultaneously. I'm not broken, this is genuinely hard, and I deserve support. That's the place that I would love for you to get to as well. When we hold both frameworks, a million wonderful things happen. We stop trying to fix neurodivergent people and start asking how to support them. We stop minimizing real struggles in the name of positivity. We advocate for accommodations without shame. We celebrate differences without pretending challenges don't exist. And we shift the conversation from what's wrong with you to what do you need? That's the work. That's what identity affirming care actually looks like. If this video opens something up for you, if it gave you language for something you've been feeling but couldn't quite name, that's exactly why I'm here. This is just the beginning. Every week I'm going to go deeper on ADHD, autism, neurodivergent nervous systems, parenting, and what actually looks like to thrive as an ADHD or autistic person or family. If you want more of this, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you here. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I read them and they will genuinely help me shape what I make next. So I'll see you in the next one. They drop every Friday. Until then.